I came to have a party, and it's AJ and Tracy.
Hey.
Your MCs of the day, or at least for this episode.
Yes.
Welcome to Hair Mafia.
Welcome.
We're glad to be back. We've survived
Always.
a lot.
Have we? This weekend,
I
the
just
weather.
feel like I don't even know. All the things, the elements.
Yeah.
Should we do our weekend roundup?
Sure. I didn't do much. Well, it was Josh's dad's 75th birthday, and then Josh's 47th birthday.
Hell yeah!
So it was just
Hair
a big.
daddy.
It was just a big party all weekend. We literally went to his dad's house, and they were partying. People from his church. I'm talking about like people were just getting it.
The church. Yes. Dang.
I mean, not like crazy, but they were drinking and they were having German food. He's German, so they like made all this stuff.
You know, I used to get down at the church.
No, they were cool.
What my Christian mingle sign-in names were?
No.
Throw that ass in a prayer circle and then come get Psalm, like the book of Psalm.
That's funny.
Yeah, it wasn't very successful. Dang, I should have came.
Well, I didn't know that you wanted to. We didn't. Yeah, Lotus was there, like Josh's family, people from the church. This one weird guy was walking around, and I'm like, what's wrong with him? Oh, he was very weird, like up in your personal space.
No boundaries.
Zero. And so I was like, can you like just take a step or two back?
Not the up down.
And he was like, oh, is this bothering you? And I was like, yeah, it is.
If I had to say something about it.
But
clearly.
then I hear Josh is like, no, that's like a kid growing up. Well, he's not. He's like 22, 23. He said he lives down the street. His parents are different. I don't even know what any of that means. But he was like, I think he's just socially awkward.
So
and I'm like, he's clearly, but.
We're going to give him some cues. He can be better.
Yeah.
So.
And, but no, it was good. And then Josh's birthday. We didn't do anything. Yesterday was his birthday, and we just like hung out and was hungover. I haven't had a hangover in a while, so I was like, ugh. But not bad. It was fun. That's it.
Yeah, I was like, dang.
And then the cold weather.
I didn't do anything. Well, okay, so I went to this concert. I still don't even know who these people were.
The band or the people you went with?
The band.
Oh.
There's this guy we met. It's a friendship, but I don't know which way they want this interaction to go. I don't even want to get into it. But I'm just like, we are just friends. I'll punch you in the face.
Yeah.
But real sweet guy. He messaged me out of nowhere, and he was like, hey, this band's been on like David Letterman. It's like their 10th album anniversary, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like this Beer City Music Hall, like really cute place. It's downtown. I didn't know it like existed, and it was cool. They played for like an hour. I got to meet them.
Nice. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, they were friendly, huggy, I guess, because he's really good friends with them, and they didn't know he lived in Oklahoma. He's like, I don't even know why they're here. And I was like, okay, cool.
Well,
yeah.
that's fun.
It was fun. That was it, though. I think I did something before that. Anyways, I ate a lot.
Oh, yeah. I think just this cold weather, for sure.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
I don't want to get fired up, but
Okay.
since our last episode, and it's more so like clients. So you had a consultation. This girl was like, hey, wanted to get extensions. These people told me if I come up here or wherever, I need to ask you what method you use. If you don't use this method, they told me not to book with you. And I said, what? But I don't know. You could probably tell that better. I just kind of caught wind of it in the back. And I was like,
I did forget about her. She was super nice.
Super nice. And she was just trying to do her due diligence. But it was like they struck the fear of God in her. And they were like, you can only get your hair done by this method. And I was like,
but okay, well, because so this woman lives very far from our salon.
mm-hmm.
And she showed me an Instagram, like a
profile.
Instagram. Yeah. But it was like these two stylists.
Mm-hmm.
They have, I think, that their own profiles, and they work at a salon and all the things. But she showed me a picture and was like, I kind of wanted to go to these girls, but I was told that they didn't do the right method, so that I shouldn't even go there and I shouldn't do a consultation. And immediately I got put off because I'm like, why?
Yeah, I just want like girlfriend, like, who is it?
Well, yeah, but I'm like, just because it's not the same method that they do. And we've kind of touched base on this before. But I'm like, you should give them a try.
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes from your house. This is like 45 minutes from your house. I happen to know that they're good. I think that they're good.
Yeah, I feel like you even said that.
And no offense, I don't even know the girls that she used to go to. So I'm like, I think that these girls were good. But just because that they didn't do the method that they did, I'm like, I can't anymore. She ended up actually booking with me because she was like, well, I'll just stick with you. And what method do you do? And I'm like, what method do you want? Well, no, because I'm like, I'm certified in a bunch of them.
Right.
I was like, if you're wanting the same thing that you have now, let's do it.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, they told me not to go to those other girls because I said, I think it'd be fine if you went to them. But
yeah, it's your choice.
And so that was it. But it's just kind of like, it's just off-putting to me because I think some of these methods, not all of them, some of them are teaching. Theirs is like the one and only, the end all be all of all methods. And if anybody does this, then, well, you need to go on the website and look to see if they're certified, and they need to have a master's certification, and they need to blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. Well, then like master certification, this and that. And again, a lot of themes keep coming up when we do these episodes because I'm like, they're kind of problematic themes, or they are just things that are really relevant in the hair community. And it's just like, there's a lot of misinformation, whether it's intentional or not.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you, since you are the most, certified, highly decorated here, if you were going to tell somebody, hey, ask about these things when you're going to look for a stylist to do your extensions, what would you tell them to kind of have on their radar when selecting a stylist?
Are you talking about as far as their certifications go?
Certification, or just kind of like, hey, like, what's your philosophy on doing extensions? Like, your beading, your tension, your whatever. Like, what would be
I probably wouldn't bombard the stylist with too many questions because then I think that can get, like, I wouldn't tell someone else that.
Yeah.
If my client was like, I need to get somewhere closer to my house. If I already didn't have a couple people in mind for them, I would say, do some research. I wouldn't even say that they have to be certified in any method, but just make sure that they do extensions on a regular basis. I mean, and when you do go to the consultation, I mean, how we feel about people, like we can tell a weird client vibe.
Yes.
And then I feel like they can tell a weird stylist vibe. To me, if I'm a client and someone is immediately dogging a method, dogging a stylist, dogging a salon, it's just, I wouldn't want to book with them.
Yeah.
Just because of that. Yeah, I would just tell them to look for someone who does extensions. Yeah. There's so many methods out there. But I just think that the negativity, like you said, whether intentional or not, is just more off-putting than I would rather just give somebody a chance who's like, I did just get certified in, this method, and, I only have a few extension clients, but, I think that this would really work for you, because they're honest, and instead of, well, don't go anywhere else unless they're certified in this, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's being put out there like that.
And it's not even like they're trying to do some like weird monopoly on like, we'll go to my friend or whatever. It's just like they're talking negative. And it's just like weird. Yeah,
just about another method. They're not even saying like that they knew those girls. They're like, oh, and then they started, I guess, doing their own research. And then they were like, oh, no. They do this method, so don't go to them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
or even to kind of go ahead.
Oh, no, but I was just like, that's kind of just, that's not a real reason.
Yeah, or even to kind of make it simple, like social media is business. And so I'm like, if they don't have a lot of pictures posted, but their bio's like extension specialist, and it's like, well, where's your extension work? Yeah. I would say if you want to be confident in them, not to say that they'd be bad, but it's like, I wouldn't go to them. You know what I mean? It's just like, or if they're very forthcoming, they're like, hey, I don't have a lot. I'm willing to work with you, be patient with me, blah, blah. You won't come out bald.
Yeah. That's what Caitlin used to say. She was just like, look, I'm fairly new. You know, I've been practicing, but, you know, this is going to be a long process for you.
Yeah.
You may have beads slip out, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, but I feel like the fact that she was honest with that. I know they say like, don't ever tell anyone that you're new or don't ever let anybody know about that, but people can kind of sense that now. And these are really high end services.
And I feel like sometimes if you don't tell them that you're new at a service, like maybe not a new stylist, but it's like, hey, trying a different technique or whatever.
Right.
It kind of helps you on the front end of like, if something does go wrong, they're not as mad at you.
They're not, they don't feel duped.
Right. Because then you have like people who aren't well practiced and then they're charging $3,000.
Yeah,
and
they're
I'm
charging
like,
too much.
Now that's a red flag too, because it's like, it's okay to ask, how long have you been doing extensions?
Yeah.
Or like this type of like hand tied, beaded row, whatever. And then they can tell you. And it's like, if the price doesn't seem to kind of go with the experience, I'd probably be like, okay, I'm just going to research my options. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because you do need to go to a consultation.
Yeah, I feel like the consultation's beneficial for the stylist and the client. Whenever she said that to me, though, I was immediately uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because what I wanted to say is, who are these people? Let me see who does your hair right now. Because I'm like annoyed already.
Their work.
Well, yeah, but I'm just like, they weren't even saying anything about me or you or our salon or whatever. It was just immediately trash talking something else. Don't go to them. Don't go to them. Don't go to them. It's like, what about these girls? So they just had someone who wanted to go to them, someone who was ready to spend money, be a new client, more convenient for her. And then this person said, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that sucks. Well, but that's the business that we're in, kind of, I guess.
It is. Well, I think that whatever your specialty is, ours is extensions. I think that you should feel, even in a consultation, more educated about the service you want to receive. Because even then, it's like, we should kind of be correcting people on certain language. Like a lot of people say, I do hand-tied method. I'm like, no, hand-tied is the weft.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the method. But, you know, it just kind of like, you know, it slides by. And then it's like, people are saying things, but then when they go to the next side, like, do you do hand-tied method? And we're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like,
it's like, that's not what that is.
Yeah.
Or you can only use this. We've talked about this before. People will only use a certain, not even brand of hair, but like they only like hand-tied is best for my hair. That's what my stylist said. And people are really impressionable because you're their first experience.
Definitely.
And I'm just like, then you got to like break this mentality, and then they're kind of skeptical of you.
Right.
People always kind of hold on to like the negative experience, and then they're like hesitant. It's like, ooh, I hate that happened to you.
I watched, I don't know how it was a reel. It said it was a reel, but it ended up being like a IGTV live. It was Danielle White, the first person that I got certified in the natural beaded row method. And she wasn't even, well, I'm sure she was going to put extensions in, but she was like talking about like, you know, all these stylists talk about have a game plan, do this, do that when you're doing a color correction. And she was like, I never do. She was like, there's like 20,000 ways to do something as far as a color correction.
Yes.
And she was like, I could just bleach the whole thing. I could highlight the whole thing. What she was doing was this girl had like hot orange roots, like on purpose, just like a root, hot orange, and then like a level 3.
Yeah.
And so she went in, but she said it was just like a level 3 demi or something. That's what it was. So she was like, I knew that it was going to lift off pretty quick. So she goes and she does like a global on all that orange and then goes through with her assistant and then foils the dark off. And then in between goes back and does like some kind of a color remover. Either way, I haven't even seen part 2 and I can't wait. But it's like things like that. It's like, I mean, but then I see other videos where it's something totally different. There's just so many different ways to do anything. Extensions and color. And again, there's so many different hair companies out there. There's great ones. There's mediocre.
Right. And even what you just described, that doesn't make sense to me.
But it makes sense to her.
It makes sense to her. And I'm like, But that's where she's starting to show her education and expertise. She's like, I know what these things do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use a combination of things where I'm just like, oh, let's just see what color remover will get you. Come back in a week.
And you don't want to sound like, I don't know, we're just like playing it by ear or whatever. But like sometimes it's like, and not really with extensions, I don't feel like, but again, I don't think any method matters.
Yeah.
I've been telling, so my new assistant, Allie, I've been telling her and I've been telling Josh. Josh has in his it's going to be his third week of hair school. The weather's been crazy, but so he didn't go today. He'll be watching me or Allie will be watching me and be like, well, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know, but like you're going to get to a point to where you know what this person needs and you know what their hair needs, whether it's we got to just do a partial highlight, we're going to do some dimension this time. Maybe we don't even have to refresh your money piece. Maybe you need a good trim. Maybe you need a gloss. Like it's not a one size fits all anymore.
Right.
And I told Josh, I was like, I'm not trying to sound like a hair whatever, but I'm like, the hair has to like talk to you. Like you just have to know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I love that you said that because that was one of the things that even I found myself saying, even in hair school, and they were like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I just got to get in there and like let the hair talk to me because I'm like, if you come in with a set like game plan, you kind of don't leave room for flexibility. You're like, I want to do it this way, and the hair's not doing. And it's like, you gotta just go with what you're given, and sometimes it just doesn't tell you until you get to that place, and you're like, what? Because I've even seen you do stuff, and I'm like, what you told me, but what I take away from it is completely different. And it's like, it still works.
Right. And then sometimes I do things, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know that was going to happen, so let's put this on it or let's do that. Most of the time I do have a game plan. I'm mainly just talking about color corrections or like if it's a brand new client and maybe I don't know their whole hair history or maybe I think that I do. This is just like in the moment type things.
Yeah.
I mean, the regular clients, I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing today.
Or seeing you like work with an assistant is funny because you have to verbalize some of the stuff you're doing, or you kind of like prep and you're like, okay, I've done this client before. And you're like, it's not necessarily that I'm breaking a rule, but don't do this on everyone. Like this works for this client.
Right.
And again, too, it's like.
And sometimes I'm like, I have to put a 7 double N and like 20 volume on her in L'Oreal whenever I don't even use L'Oreal or Goldwell or whatever. Sometimes people's hair is just different and I have to use something that I really wouldn't normally use.
Yeah, and like one of your clients, they had like kind of this scalp condition or allergy, and you were like, I've never used this. We're going to use it, and it worked. That was
crazy, I know.
You were like, I'm being honest, I don't know what's going to happen. You're like, it worked.
And it was fine.
Never in my life.
No, and I told her, because I've been doing her hair for a long time, and I was like, I'm going to try to put this on to cover your gray. Not sure if it's going to work. And it worked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm impressed. Not with myself. I'm just impressed with the product. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. A little, not even thinking outside the box, just kind of like pushing the box out. You're just like, I need a little extra room.
Yeah.
Wiggle room. But I think things to consider if you want extensions and maybe like ask the stylist that you're getting your consultation from is, you know, are you familiar with my thickness, my density? How do you address these problems? You know, will it go well with curly hair? How should I maintenance this? And these are all questions that if they're not addressing, if you ask them, they should have some sort of answer for you, because you can do a lot with hair. Should you? No.
No.
And I was talking to a lady today, and she works in aesthetics, and she was just talking about how like you see it kind of among the beauty industry. It's like we want to provide a service and make money, but the issue is that a lot of people just don't turn people down or say like that's not the best for you, because it's like you're asking a potential, you know, $1,000 client to walk away, or 500, or you know, whatever the spectrum is, and it does hurt. But I'm like, I feel like you kind of get a better referral because you're honest. Because I've turned a couple people down. They're like, we liked your vibe. You didn't play any games. I referred my sister to you though, like blah blah. And I'm like, oh okay, wasn't expecting that. And so I'm like, no,
yeah, but that's really good.
Cry now, pay later.
Cry now, pay later. So yeah.
But also, you know what I feel like is making a comeback? Tape-ins.
I heard you say that earlier.
Because like,
It's as soon as I decide that I don't want to carry him anymore.
No, for real. But I was going to say, too, I was like, among the black community and the natural hair community, which I'm like, it just blows my mind because there's a certain texture that goes along with it. Because somebody said ethnicity, and I said ethnicity does play a factor in there. But I'm like, there's still a lot of different hair textures among. So I'm like, you really need to get somebody that, you know, can identify what's best for your hair texture.
I think they stay in really well.
Yeah, they do. And I was like, you got to do the proper maintenance. But I was, you know, certain hairstylists offer like a package. They're like, you don't need to wash your hair yourself because you're going to rip all your hair out, especially if they have curly hair. I'm like, there's wavy extensions. And that's another thing too. People are always like, I want textured extensions. And I'm like, okay, but here's the deal with that. We can get it for you. The curl doesn't last. You know, it's like
they want to be. Yeah, and I do tell people that you have to be able to want to wear it wavy or want to wear it curly almost daily.
Yes.
Because as soon as you start
manipulating it.
and blow drying it straight, it's going to come right out.
Mm-hmm. It's going to loosen. It's going to get raggedy faster, honestly, because you're going against what it wants to do, and it's already processed.
It's basically permed.
Yeah, it's permed, and then if you add that it's colored on top of it, it's like you got a bunch of stuff working against it, and it's like, okay, you got about like 3 months,
and the curly is more expensive. Here's another thing that I tell people. I really feel, I don't know where people got hair. Oh, well, my hair lasted like 3 years or whatever. I'm like, I don't know who told you that, but I do feel like if you get 1 row for fullness, it lasts way longer than if you get 2 rows, because if you have all of your hair kind of protecting it, your hair gets the brunt of the damage. You know, sorry, but it does. Or it like shares the damage from the heat,
right?
And you know, whatever process, just the color and just the wear and tear anyways. But if you get the 2 rows for length, you have all of just that hair getting the brunt of all the damage. So your hair is better. The extensions suffer more, but then they usually don't last 10 months to a year. They last 6 to 8 months.
And I feel like people who have 2 rows, they tend to blow dry them together. Like I think a lot of people are just like, I want to just hurry up and blow dry my hair. And I'm like, you really need to like separate them. Cause I'm just like, you're not getting in between them like you should. And so I'm like, that's why your top row's kind of burnt off. But whatever.
You said whatever. What else do we have to talk about today? It's kind of a slow day. I didn't work today.
I was gonna say, it's just, it's one of those slow weeks, so we don't have like a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
Like the past 2 weeks, because we did cancel one for the weather.
We had to, We were going to cancel this one, but it's not even bad out. I don't really feel like it's just extra cold.
I was ready for a snow-nado.
Really? Are those real?
It's Oklahoma. It probably was.
I know thunder snow happens.
I wish I had a boost so they could just play in my Utopia box, but whatever. Dang, I had a good one on my mind, but I kind of forgot.
Are you talking about the topic?
Oh, just like hair maintenance.
Oh, okay.
But
you said no.
And another thing too, I was just like, I think that people should invest in like kind of getting your hair blown out every once in a while if you do have extensions, because I'm like, the home maintenance is hard. Yeah. Just in general. And I'm like, there's deep conditioners, and someone, I think she used to be your assistant, but she posted a really good post like, how do you know the difference between breakage and dry hair? And she was like, dry hair knots up, you know, and damaged hair breaks off. Oh yeah,
and
she
all did.
That
yeah,
stuff.
that was
and I was
a
like,
good
that's
reel.
a great one. And she was like, but you need to go to your professional. She's like, because you don't need moisture all the time, or you don't need, you know, it's like, let a professional assess that.
And a lot of that is product buildup.
Yes. Yeah. But then it's like, I don't want to tell you to like go buy a clarifying shampoo, because then you're like overdoing it. Then your extensions are ratty. Yeah, it's really hard. Extensions can be somewhat difficult to take care of. There's a learning curve. I feel like I used to tell people, oh yeah, you can treat them like your hair, and you can blow dry and flat iron them and do whatever with them, and you can, but then I'm feeling like people don't really take care of their own hair. So, or they do want to go to bed with their hair wet, or they do want to go to the lake all weekend and not wash their hair and be in the wind and the sand and drinking and whatever, sex and just all these things happening, partying, and then they just don't. Or we find like our younger clients, because, you know, the lady today was like, who's a worse client, younger or older? And I was like, It depends, but I would just have to say younger
She
because
said it was the worst.
yeah, she was like, who's the more difficult client? And it was like, well, you get these young girls and some of them are like in activities or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's like,
definitely sports.
you can't tell them to treat it like their own hair because, or anybody, because you really need to know what their home maintenance is. Because I'm like, they're like, I wore a bun for 4 days straight and I was just sleeping. And it's like,
I woke up, had brunch, then I went and worked out. Like, still, like, none of that. Your hair's
Yeah.
ever getting brushed. It's like, okay.
and they're like, these extensions stuck. Like this one girl, she still owes me money, but this was
Oh.
over a year ago. She wanted all new hair, blah, blah, blah. And she liked Machine West. Nothing wrong with that. And she was like, this hair just knots up, duh, duh. And I checked on because I was like, I haven't heard from you. Like, it's your move up time.
But she also said the hair that she was using previous was crap. And I'm like, okay.
And it also, she had 22 inches and it all broke off to her shoulders. I don't think she maintained her hair, but after she got her new hair, she ended up going on a ski trip. So it was in a helmet. She didn't like tie it up. And then she broke her leg.
Oh.
Or had to have surgery on it. And I was like, was it the hair? And I was like, hey, come in. I texted her twice. She never showed back up. And I was like, okay, whatever.
You said okay.
But I will say this too, because it came back to me. If you need a repair to your hair extensions, don't wait till your move up.
Oh, really?
Like,
I don't mind fixing hair. I know that it happens.
yeah, some people are like, I don't want to bother you, but I'm
It's like, bother
if
me.
it's hanging off,
Yeah.
or like I'm Bobby Pin, or I was gonna see you in a week. I'm like, but one wrong move can damage your hair. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
like, just depends. But I'm like, like one girl, she was just like, I was just, blah blah blah. But she came to get a blowout, and she was like, I don't want to bother you to fix. I said, no, this needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
like,
it takes 2 seconds.
it literally did. I'm like, while she's done, she's like, oh, you're already done. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I just put a bead on and sewed it up,
Yeah, it's not that big of
It
a
was a
deal.
little jank, but I was like, we need to, even out this tension on your hair. Because I'm like, you were blow drying this like that? Like, just raggedy. I love her, though.
Raggedy.
She was just cracking me up. But
I need to get my extensions back in.
I know. What are we going to do with your hair?
I don't know. I keep it's like curly today, but I keep thinking I want to go blonde because I haven't been blonde in forever. And why not? And if my hair's really, and my texture is like curly and fine, so it damages easy, but it goes blonde easy. So I don't know what that is, but my,
Let's just do some 7 volume on there and see where we go.
yeah, but Caitlin wants me to go all dark. I'm like, you would. And Josh obviously wants me to go all dark.
He wants your hair to be black.
No, he does.
And you're just like, excuse me, I am not Evanescence.
yeah, I don't want to be that. Dark chocolate brown would be fine, but I just need to figure it
I
out.
didn't realize your hair's been light for a really long time.
It has actually.
Maybe
Lightish. Red.
I want us
whatever
to
that
tread lightly on a potential topic, but
I wonder if we're going to get any bad reviews for this.
well,
You said,
I'm gonna be
"Whoa."
nice.
You said,
I
"Well."
was gonna say something, but let me just again. I'll let you lead the chariot. Let's talk about competitiveness, and is there an appropriateness to being competitive? Because you can do whatever the freak you want, but I think that there's a way to go about certain things. I don't know the right way in this situation, but not to sound like, but we like supply hair to certain salons and things like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you want to start your own salon, extension line, that's great. But I think that's where I need to let you take over because I just start running my fucking
I'm
mouth.
trying to figure out a way to talk about this without talking about it because I'm not going to say obviously which salon it is, or I don't think people will figure it out maybe.
And disclaimer, there are no hard feelings about this
No.
at all.
No.
Like, if it comes across shady, it's not. It really is not. It's a hard thing to kind of talk about without maybe stepping on toes on accident.
No, I can do it without. But
Yeah.
basically, so we have our own line, not a big deal. Anybody can start their own extension line. Anybody can start their own salon. Anybody can go to hair school or cosmetology school and whatever. But there's this salon that I'm really close to And all of a sudden,
Cool people.
I'm seeing one of the girls use another line, which is no big deal because they do use different lines. And I honestly do appreciate people using other lines. And I see a lot of stylists using other lines because they're like, they all have something different to offer, or sometimes I can't get in stock, what I need or whatever. Or
They're providing a customized experience based on the client that they're serving.
Yeah.
That is great.
No, it's totally great. And so I don't even know how it happened. I started getting questions from this certain person. What are your prices? I'm like, girl, you know our prices. You got a stylist account.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah. And she's like, well, but exactly how many grams are this and that? And I'm like, okay. And I'm telling her, and I'm like, all this info is on the website. And it was always just weird questions to me personally, not like, we have so much information on the website. And I don't mind asking or answering questions anyways. So how did that even come about? Well, I was just like working one day.
Yeah.
And
it just came across Instagram.
Yeah.
Like it literally was like a fluke find.
Yeah. And Josh and Caitlin were like, what is this?
Especially Josh. It's just funny.
I know.
Like,
he's so
look.
drama.
And
I'm like, don't mess with me while I'm working. What are you even trying to show me right now? I said, you're drama. Go away. I did. I was like, it's drama. Drama again. So I'm like, and I look and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Are they starting their own line? They always buy hair from us. And I'm like, no big deal. Like, no big deal. But they do actually keep a lot of our hair in stock.
Yes. To me, that's where it got weird.
At no cost.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, So I messaged them and they're like, no, we still want to keep your, no, I mean, obviously if someone in-house decided to start their own line, I would have to support them. And I'm like, no, 1,000,000% I get it. And I'm like, but are you guys just like color matching with my stuff and then ordering it from this other place? Because that's weird to me.
Well, my perception of it, it was like, it wasn't also that they were color matching, but their shades looked identical.
See, I really couldn't tell the shades. I mean, I kind of could, but I was just like,
being nice, you can't tell because they just don't have the same eye. But anyways.
So then a few days goes by and Josh tries to send me a post. And I was like, I don't know what that is because it said post unavailable. So now this extension line has blocked me. Still don't know who they are. I don't even know the owner. Blocked me and blocked our salon.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I said, I guess I can't see it because I'm blocked. He was like, why are you blocked? I go,
after asking all this information from you, it's like, and bye.
Right.
I just think that's kind of mean.
No, it is.
That's where I mean, like, there's a right way to do it.
Dude,
like,
if someone
just come out
if someone comes to me and was like, how did you start? Like, how did you start? I mean, some people know my story as to how I started, but now I would say definitely do your research, find a manufacturer. It's going to be a ton of trial and error. You've got to have some money to start. You've got to have an idea of what colors you want to carry. You do have to be creative in the process. And that's it.
Yeah.
But it is hard work. But I mean, I don't have any problems giving anybody any advice or any, don't do this because this is what I did and that was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I've made the mistakes and I definitely would tell anybody that.
Well, I think that anybody has contact with you because I was just like, I feel like if this person would have been like, hey, I'm starting my own line. What tips could you give me? Dude, it's like, well, I'm not going to give you all the secrets. But I'm like, hey, here's a checklist of things that you should just be aware of. That's it. Boom.
Yeah. And then the rest is all you.
Yeah.
Your name,
like,
all that stuff.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I will say this again, and just looking at the posts, it was just very interesting. I'm like, if you're going to start your own business, even if you have to start and then expand, which is what most people do, you got to come out the gate correct. Because I was just like looking at how they delivered and their packaging and things like that. And if I had received something like that, paying what I was going to pay, I would just, it was a little uncomfortable. I don't want to say I wouldn't be impressed because it matters what the hair is, but I'm just like, I don't want to receive something that's just like wrapped in tissue paper and you taped, a little sticky something on there or like hand wrote, labels.
Yeah.
Also, when naming your product, it needs to kind of flow. And there's some interesting names. Maybe they have meaning to it, but I was like, you got to think if you're trying to start a business, it needs to be accessible to a good majority of who you're trying to reach.
True. I think it just hurt my feelings because of that history with all of them. But it really didn't even hurt my feelings. And then I got blocked and I was like, well, now I'm just confused, but moving on. It was like, I don't, it doesn't surprise me.
So another thing that I'm going to tread lightly on is that I saw a post and I'm a little conflicted. You have a strong opinion about this, or not strong, but you're like, this is my perspective.
Yeah.
There was a post that said, it is okay for salons to poach other stylists from other salons.
Salon owners to reach out.
Something like that.
To other stylists and get them to come work with them.
As of right now in this moment, I feel like, again, there's a way to do it. I don't like the idea because I think that it could be catty or malicious. But I'm like, this is who I can't. Like if JL was like, hey, I've seen your work. I think you'd be a good fit for my team. But I'm like, he's kind of like a glow. I'd be like, okay, cool. I'll travel with you. I'll teach a class or whatever.
Yeah.
But he has like no connection in the community that I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have met him organically. He would be like, and that would be like my choice versus like somebody's like, if you come over here, we're going to give you like 18 million clients. 3 months free boot. Like, just like, but I'm like, if somebody locally did that, I'd be like, are you trying to dig at Tracy? Or do you really see my, talent or something? Like,
I don't know. That's hard because I did see that post by them and I was like, "Arr."
Okay, but the other thing too is I hated that they turned off the comments.
That's why. You want to know why? Well, you know why.
Because I'm like, don't put that out there and don't leave room for discussion because I'm like, you knew that was a post that was going to eat people up.
Or it was already like people started getting mad about it or just
probably cussing the posters out because they're pretty known.
Yeah. And so I think either they turned the comments off in the interim of whatever, or maybe they just did it to where it's no. I want to know how
worst
to do
case
that.
scenario, they probably got death threats because I think you know what I mean? They were like, "We're gonna kick your ass." Because I was shocked that they posted that because they never really expressed like strong opinions from what I've seen on their page.
They do post very strong opinions.
I feel like that was probably one of the more controversial ones, though.
It is. So here's my thing about. I feel like I've never, ever reached out to another stylist at another salon and said like, hey, are you not happy? Like, we're opening up down here. Yeah, same thing. Tons of clients. I'll give you this and that, blah, blah, blah. Because what if I can't deliver any of that?
And that's the thing too, I was like, do you have
I wouldn't do that anyways. But what if I couldn't? Because you never know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could say, oh, yeah, I'll give you overflow, but how do we even know that that's even...
Because you don't know. It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to be up and down. So it's like, at the time, I promise you that if you come 3 months later, I'd be like, oh, ain't nothing out there. I gave them all to so-and-so or whatever.
Right.
Or if somebody's like, hey, I'm about to quit. Or, 50% of my clients I'm letting go. You can have them.
Yeah.
I'll give you high recommendations. I'm like, you can go them or somewhere else.
I just feel like that's fine to have that conversation only if the stylist has reached out to you. Like,
I can see that.
Like, hey, I'm not happy where I'm at. Or, hey, I want to go closer to home. Or anything. You don't even have to be not happy where you're at. You could just be, maybe I just want to change.
Yeah.
Or maybe we don't do a lot of extensions here, but we're still really busy with color and cuts. I just think that it's a conversation to have.
Or if they're offering you like a niche position, like, there are some salons where somebody's like, I only cut hair, you can be my colorist. Or, you can be my extension person and I do all the rest. And it's like, okay, well, that's a built-in clientele because it's like, okay, I have all these people that want extension. I have to like refer them out. I'd rather hire you and keep that in-house or whatever. Yeah,
I don't know. I've had an issue with that before. I had, let's see, what salon? One of them in South Oklahoma City, and a salon had opened up like 2 miles away, and she took 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Same thing. You're gonna be fucking the best, whatever. Come down here. I already know the whole
This
time.
place sucks.
I'm like, I'm not even going to say anything. Of course, I'm like, not really upset. I was just like, okay, great. Because it was just how that whole situation was done. Mm-hmm. None of them work there. One works there, but the other two were back at my salon within 6 months.
Yeah.
And this person was still contacting them. Are you ready to come back yet? And I'm like, go away. Like, seriously. That kind of poaching, I think,
bullying.
is just wrong.
Yeah. That's just pressure.
And I already knew, like, you guys aren't, it's not going to be your vibe down there. I already know because I've known this girl forever. And
Yeah.
it's just, and I wasn't saying it because it was another salon. I already knew.
Right.
And yeah, it just, I mean, whatever, maybe she's still doing good or whatever. But alls I know are the other two came back and worked with me. And then one just went and worked at home.
Yeah.
Because she said she didn't like it. She said she felt very uncomfortable there. And I was like, I'm really sorry that was your experience. And she works out of her house now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've never been comfortable with that.
Yeah. I've never been like approached or poached, but I will say that I did have an interesting experience. I was being silly on social media. Kind of quick backstory is, so I was at the Jones Assembly, this restaurant's, popular, whatever. But this like teenage girl was having like an influencer party. She had like reached like 15K or whatever.
Ooh.
So I thought they left. She like had a whole sheet cake. Like they only cut 3 pieces. And I was like, are they done? Like blah, blah, blah. So I took the sheet cake and the balloons and I started taking pictures with it. And I posted, and I was like, finally reached 15K. And then like, and I like left it up and I was like, I probably should just post like, this isn't real. But I got like 2 DMs and they were like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, why are you messaging me? And I was just like, you thought I was popular and you're going to ask me to kind of like, that's what it felt like. I cannot confirm that.
Yeah.
I can't. But it was just like I had never been on their radar. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I was like, finally at 50, which I was like, you could look at my followers, but they just saw the story. And I was like, come on. Like, really? And then like I posted like the sad face. I was like, a girl can only dream. And they were like, and then they like messaged me again. They're like, work hard. The algorithm's like really weird. You never know when you're going to blow up. And I was like, I love how you backtracked.
Well, yeah, but that is true. The algorithm is bipolar.
Don't you love the days when like all these social media managers like, here's the algorithm this week, and they were like, real.
Oh, they just knew. They were like, do this, do this, do this. I never did it still, but
no. And now there's all this talk of SEOs, and you need to, know the search engine language, or it's gonna like
Google
whatever.
just like throws you off the cliff or what. Yeah.
Then I forgot there's this one, there's a term, but it's like on TikTok and it's called like heating or something like that. But basically like all accounts, or there are like people that are assigned to certain accounts and they literally either shut your account down or they like basically they like ice you out or they heat your thing up and they push you like in For You pages and stuff like that. And it's like, you could have great content, but if the person that's like monitoring your content doesn't like you,
right,
you'll never get big. And I was like, dang.
No, I think that's really true.
Oh, it was a whole article. And I was like, I don't really want to read all this, but I'm like, I'm not.
But
really
they
gonna
also
try.
measure how much you're on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just go on there like, 10 minutes a day and do whatever, I'm never going to get seen. But if I'm on there like 4 to 5 hours a day,
Yeah.
then my stuff gets pushed out more.
Which I would love to have my friend as a guest because she's really big on TikTok and she's getting bigger on YouTube and Pinterest. She's just kind of expanding and she's getting big on Instagram. But I mean, she talks all the time about, she is an influencer and she was like, the biggest views I got was about my first luxury vehicle I bought, and some guy was like trolling me about pronouncing it wrong, and I wasn't actually. And she was like, I got 3 million views. She was like,
I feel like the trolls is what keeps it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you're ugly, or oh, blah blah, or they'll just like say stuff, or oh, your hair, that hair looks bad, or whatever, and it's like, okay, we'll just keep it going, I guess.
And it was funny because she kind of posted these 2 videos back to back. She said, I was going to take the high road and stop addressing the trolls. And then she was like, I saw somebody like blow up and they have like this brand that they kind of want to promote. She goes, she got recognized because she addressed the troll.
Yeah.
And she was like, But then she mentioned in the same video like her brand, and so she got all these videos for like clapping back at somebody, and then she like mentioned her like just on a whim, and they were like clicking on her stuff, and they're like, oh, she like, you know, fights back and she has a brand. She was like, my biggest mistake is that I didn't plug my perfume.
Well, true.
Yeah, and I was like, the more you know, you live and learn. But
It was funny this is not even the same as far as the beauty industry, but today, since we stayed in, I was watching Dr. Phil, and it was just some just regular like marriage counseling. And anyways, these people were on there, and this guy they were about to get a divorce or whatever, and she was super controlling. And but I was like, well, of course, because he's out drinking, gambling, cheating. She's like, I don't want to be this way, but like, I don't trust him. And anytime he goes somewhere, like I don't want to be this crazy person. So they end up going back, and they were like, we were ready to like file the divorce papers until this show aired, like just like a live clip on Facebook. And they were like, fuck you, bitch. And they were all mean to her. And then the husband starts going on there, and he's like, guys, like I messed up. Like therapists were reaching out to him. We want to give you guys free counseling. They're together. They were like, best thing that ever happened is they were like, obviously they took advice and got help and all these things, but they're like, but the best thing that happened was that post going viral and everyone like talking crap on it.
But when you
and
see
I was
a
like,
true
but really
reflection of yourself, I think that's the best medicine. Like you can hear somebody tell you something, but when you see yourself like act ugly or out or just be somebody you don't want to be, I'm like, that's the best kind of act right. Like it's just like,
well, no, she was saying the trolls are what got the video going. She was, I felt bad for her because I was like, she's even like crying, saying, I don't want to be controlling. No one even cared that he had been cheating and gambling and like blackout drinking, but they were like, you're a Karen and all this. And I'm like,
that's sad though.
It is. But she was like, it got so many views. And then that's whenever people started reaching out like, hey, we want to help you, and life coaches and therapists. And she was like, we had some like meal prep, like we need to take some of this stress out. I want to meal prep for you for free. And I'm like,
I need to have a viral breakdown. I'm about to do it.
I know. Let's do it.
I'm about to rip out the little hair I got.
Yeah. Let's just have a breakdown on here. Well, we've had like mini micro ones.
I know, but I'm ready for mine to turn macro. Like, I just want to be like Pompeii and just blow the fuck up and melt bitches down.
Seeing as we're getting 1-star reviews on the podcast, I don't know if it's for our attitude or what.
Just give us a 5-star, even if you listen and enjoy it,
but
even
I don't
a little
understand.
bit.
Here's the thing. We didn't even know until like on Google and wherever, you have to kind of give a reason behind, and you have to have like a real name. Spotify, you can just 1 star and you don't even have to give your name or a reason why. So that's kind of tough.
So to the 2 people that we unintentionally offended, please take it back.
Yeah, just add on a 5-star.
Just go back. We already apologized and we meant it. It was from the bottom of my heart. That sounded sarcastic. Referencing all the social media, I'm going to butcher this saying, but it really resonated with me. And it's just some advice to kind of leave you with, because I was like, do you have any parting words?
I really don't.
It was just kind of we just kind of
You always do the end words. I'm just over here like.
You're just like, don't die.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper. But it was kind of like being good at something means you do it until you get it right. And then it's like to be great at something is you do it so much you can't get it wrong. So practice doing something till you can't get it wrong. You know, it's good to be good at something, but we want you to be great, whatever it is that you're doing. And that's kind of part of why we do this podcast. We sprinkle a little something, take what you need, leave what you don't, spread the word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is that it?
I think so. So, sayonara, sucker. Love ya. Like my poncho.